In order to become free, you need to know that there's self-talk in the head. While there's self-talk in the head, otherwise there's just self-talk in the head without any awareness. There needs to be a glimpse of awareness, and from there you can see that you want to be free of it, and that's not you. You probably do it without thinking, almost like breathing. That voice in your head narrating, judging, planning, worrying, always there, always active. We've come to accept it as normal, as though it's just part of being human. But what if I told you that voice is the very thing keeping you from unlocking the life you're meant to live? What if silencing it just for a moment could transform everything? The silent witness within. For centuries, sages and mystics have whispered a profound truth. The chatter of the mind is not who you are. It's a mask, a layer of noise separating you from your true self. The moment you stop talking to yourself internally or aloud, you begin to experience something extraordinary. Imagine this: you're sitting by a still lake. The surface is glass, perfectly mirroring the sky above. But drop a single pebble, and ripples distort the reflection. This is your mind. Your constant inner dialogue is the pebble, endlessly disturbing the stillness. What if you could stop throwing stones? Zen Buddhism speaks of this stillness. They call it no mind, a state where the chatter ceases and clarity emerges. It's not about silencing the mind forcefully. It's about letting go of the need to narrate every moment. This is where the magic begins. When you stop talking to yourself, something unexpected happens. You start to listen, not with your ears, but with your whole being. You begin to hear the subtle language of the universe, the whisper of intuition, the pulse of energy flowing through all things. The Gnostics referred to this as gnosis, a direct experience of truth unmediated by words or concepts. But here's the twist. The moment you try to explain it, you lose it. Words are a tool, but they're also a trap. They divide and label, turning infinite possibilities into fixed ideas. Laozi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, famously wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The deepest truths cannot be spoken. They must be felt." So what happens when you stop the internal monologue? At first, it's uncomfortable. The silence feels foreign, even threatening. You may realize how much of your identity is wrapped up in that voice. Who are you if you're not the one saying, "I should have done this"? Or what if that happens? The truth is, you are not the voice. You are the one who hears it. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you stop identifying with the chatter, a deeper awareness emerges. You become the silent witness, observing without judgment. This state of presence is where true transformation begins. Consider the story of a monk who was asked to describe enlightenment. He simply held up a glass of water and said, "When you are thirsty, drink. No overthinking, no second-guessing, just pure being." In the silence, you'll notice something astonishing. The world around you becomes more vibrant. Colors seem brighter, sounds richer, sensations more vivid. It's as though the filters you didn't even know existed have been removed. The poet Rumi described this state beautifully. "Don't be satisfied with stories how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth." But the voice won't give up easily. It will resist, insist, and try to pull you back into its endless loops. This is where discipline comes in, not the harsh, rigid kind, but the gentle discipline of awareness. Every time you catch yourself talking to yourself, simply stop. Don't judge, don't resist. Just return to the stillness. Contemplative presence is a powerful tool for cultivating this awareness. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, and they will, acknowledge them but don't engage. Let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. Over time, the gaps between thoughts will grow longer, and the silence will feel less like emptiness and more like home. Neuroscientists have discovered that constant mental chatter activates the brain's default mode network, associated with self-referential thinking. When the DMN quiets down through meditation or deep focus, people report profound feelings of peace, clarity, and connection. And it's not just about feeling good. Silencing the inner dialogue has practical benefits too. When you're not caught up in mental noise, you make better decisions, you're more present in your relationships, and creativity flows effortlessly because you're not overanalyzing every idea. The more you practice, the more you'll notice the small miracles of silence. Perhaps you'll sense a synchronicity, a call from a friend just when you need it, or an opportunity appearing out of nowhere. Maybe you'll feel a deep inner knowing guiding your choices. These aren't random events. They're the result of aligning with the flow of life. The voice in your head creates resistance, blocking this natural flow. When you let go of the need to talk to yourself, you step into harmony with the universe. Inner silence, why it matters. Inner silence is more than the absence of noise. It's the presence of peace. It's a state where your mind stops running in loops, where you no longer replay old conversations, worry about the future, or critique yourself for every perceived flaw. Instead, it's a deep, still awareness, a place where you meet the world as it is, rather than through the lens of your thoughts. This silence matters because it reconnects you to your essence. Most of us live in a constant mental dialogue, narrating our lives as if we're watching a movie. I'm late again. I'm so disorganized. They didn't text back. Are they upset with me? Why did I say that? It was so stupid. These thoughts might seem harmless, but they shape how you see yourself and the world. Over time, they can trap you in patterns of anxiety, self-doubt, and overthinking. When you embrace inner silence, you step out of this mental storm. You stop identifying with the voice in your head, realizing that it's not you. It's just a habit, a pattern of thought. Ancient spiritual teachings often speak to this idea. The philosopher J. Krishnamurti once said, "The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence." Inner silence is the space where this observation happens. You witness life without labeling it, allowing reality to unfold as it is. This stillness doesn't just bring peace, it also brings clarity. Without the noise of constant thought, you can hear the subtler whispers of intuition and insight. It's like clearing a foggy windshield. You finally see the road ahead. In this silence, creativity flourishes and solutions to problems appear effortlessly. Not because you've been overthinking them, but because you've allowed space for them to arise. The ancient Gnostic texts, such as those found in the Nag Hammadi library, describe the idea of connecting with the divine spark within each of us. This spark, they suggest, is hidden beneath layers of noise and illusion. Inner silence is the doorway to uncovering it. By quieting the mind, you reconnect with the deeper truths that have always been there, waiting for your attention. Science, too, has begun to uncover the power of silence. Neuroscience tells us that our brains thrive when given space to rest. Constant stimulation can overwhelm the mind, leading to stress and burnout. Practices like meditation and mindfulness, which cultivate inner silence, have been shown to reduce anxiety, improve focus, and even rewire the brain for greater resilience. Inner silence also matters because it transforms how you experience the world. Without mental chatter coloring every interaction, life becomes richer, more vibrant. You notice the beauty in small things. A bird's song, the warmth of the sun, the kindness in someone's eyes. Relationships deepen because you're fully present, listening without the distraction of your own thoughts. Yet, achieving this silence isn't about forcing your mind to stop thinking. Thoughts will come and go, just as waves rise and fall in the ocean. The key is not to get caught in them. Instead, you let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. This practice, often called mindfulness, can be as simple as focusing on your breath, feeling the sensations in your body, or observing your surroundings without judgment. One of the most profound realizations that comes within silence is the understanding that you are not your thoughts. This might sound obvious, but think about how often you define yourself by what your mind tells you. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. These thoughts can feel so real, so true, that they shape your entire identity. Inner silence breaks this illusion. It shows you that these thoughts are just stories, not facts, and that you are something far greater than the mind's narrative. In the Tao Te Ching, Laozi wrote, "Silence is a source of great strength. This strength doesn't come from doing or achieving. It comes from being." When you cultivate inner silence, you tap into a wellspring of calm and power that isn't shaken by external circumstances. You become like a tree with deep roots, grounded, unshakable, and connected to something greater. Inner silence also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. Without the ego's constant chatter, the barriers between me and you, this and that, begin to dissolve. You realize that the same stillness within you exists in everything around you. It's the silence between notes in a song, the space between stars in the sky, the pause between breaths. This understanding can transform how you relate to the world, fostering compassion, empathy, and a deep sense of unity. In practical terms, cultivating inner silence doesn't require hours of meditation or retreating to a monastery. It can begin with simple practices. Take a few moments each day to sit in stillness, observing your breath or the sounds around you. When thoughts arise, don't resist them. Simply notice them and let them go. Over time, this practice becomes a habit, and the silence grows. Even in the midst of activity, inner silence matters because it's where you find yourself. Not the self that's tangled in stories and fears, but the self that is infinite, eternal, and unchanging. It's where you find peace, not because the world has changed, but because your relationship to it has. The illusion of control. Have you ever felt like your mind is a radio stuck on static, buzzing with thoughts that never seem to stop? Plans, regrets, anxieties, and endless to-do lists swirl around, making it hard to find even a moment of peace. This mental noise has become so common that we hardly notice it anymore, yet its cost is immense. It disconnects us from the present, clouds our judgment, and traps us in a loop of stress and dissatisfaction. At the heart of this mental noise lies a powerful illusion, the belief that we can and must control everything. We cling to this illusion because it gives us a false sense of security. If only we plan well enough, work hard enough, or think far enough ahead, we believe we can avoid failure, pain, or uncertainty. But life is inherently unpredictable, and the harder we try to control it, the more we suffer. Mental noise is the byproduct of this constant struggle for control. It's the inner voice that replays past mistakes, imagines worst-case scenarios, and obsesses over what might go wrong. It's the part of us that believes if we just think a little harder, we can solve every problem and keep chaos at bay. But this voice doesn't protect us. It exhausts us. The Buddha taught that clinging to ideas, desires, or outcomes is the root of suffering. When we resist the natural flow of life and try to force things to be a certain way, we create tension within ourselves. This tension is the source of mental noise, and it keeps us disconnected from the present moment, the only place where peace can truly be found. Letting go of the illusion of control is not about giving up or becoming passive. It's about recognizing the limits of what we can influence and learning to trust in the natural rhythm of life. It's about shifting from a mindset of force to one of flow. This process begins with awareness. When you notice your mind racing, take a step back and observe it without judgment. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky. They come and go, but they are not the sky itself. You are the sky, vast, open, and unaffected by the passing clouds. This simple act of observation creates a space between you and your thoughts, allowing the noise to quiet down. The illusion of control also disconnects us from our true selves. When we're consumed by mental noise, we lose touch with our intuition, creativity, and inner wisdom. We rely on our minds to solve problems that often require a deeper kind of knowing. This is why moments of clarity often come when we're not actively thinking, during a walk in nature, a quiet evening, or even in the shower. One of the most profound teachings about letting go comes from the Tao Te Ching, which says, "By letting go, it all gets done." This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or effort. It means aligning with the flow of life instead of fighting against it. When we stop trying to control every detail, we open ourselves to possibilities we couldn't have imagined. Letting go of control doesn't mean we stop caring or making decisions. It means we learn to act without attachment to specific outcomes. This mindset reduces mental noise because we are no longer constantly second-guessing ourselves or worrying about things beyond our control. The practice of letting go can also be supported by cultivating mindfulness. When you focus on the present moment, whether through your breath, a physical sensation, or the sounds around you, you break free from the grip of mental noise. The present moment is where life happens, and it's where your power lies. But letting go is not a one-time decision. It's a lifelong practice. The mind will always try to pull you back into its stories and struggles for control. Each time you notice this happening, you have an opportunity to return to the present, to release the grip of your thoughts, and to reconnect with the flow of life. The cost of mental noise and the illusion of control. The cost of mental noise and the illusion of control is too high. They rob us of peace, clarity, and joy. But the reward of letting go is freedom. The freedom to live fully without the weight of unnecessary worry. It's the freedom to trust in the unfolding of life, knowing that you are capable of navigating whatever comes your way. Awaken to the power of silence. The moment you step into the silence, the world begins to feel different. You're no longer bound by the endless loops of inner dialogue, and a profound transformation begins to unfold. But the silence is not merely the absence of noise. It's an entryway into something vast, something extraordinary. The voice in your head isn't there to help. It's there to control. It's the keeper of your limitations, the architect of your fears. To fully awaken, you must learn to disarm it. One way to do this is by understanding the nature of thought itself. Ancient teachings, like those from the Upanishads, describe thoughts as clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. They come and go, but they are not you. You are the sky, vast, unchanging, and untouched by the storms of the mind. To truly live in this awareness, you must break free from identification with your thoughts. It's not about fighting them or oppressing them. Instead, it's about seeing them for what they are: fleeting, impermanent, and often meaningless. Consider this. How many times has your inner dialogue lied to you? How often has it predicted outcomes that never came to pass, exaggerated fears, or created conflicts where none existed? The voice in your head is not a reliable guide. It's a storyteller, and not always a truthful one. In the silence, you begin to see through these stories. You realize that most of your inner dialogue is driven by the past or the future, regrets about what has been or anxieties about what might be. Rarely does it dwell in the present moment, where life is actually happening. The present moment is where your power resides, where you can break free from the illusion of time and step into the infinite now. In this state, you're no longer a prisoner of your thoughts. You're the observer, the creator, the one who chooses. The silence may seem empty, even lonely, but as you settle into it, you'll discover that it's not empty at all. It's alive, vibrant, and filled with a deep sense of peace. This is your natural state, the state you were born into before the world taught you to fill the silence with noise. From this place of silence, a new kind of clarity emerges. You begin to see patterns in your life that were once invisible. The repetitive thoughts and behaviors that kept you stuck become obvious, and you realize you have the power to change them. Quantum physics tells us that reality is not fixed. It's a field of infinite possibilities. Your thoughts and intentions shape this field, collapsing the wave of potential into the particle of experience. When your mind is clouded by constant chatter, you're unconsciously creating your reality based on old, limiting patterns. But when you silence the noise, you can consciously direct your focus and create a reality aligned with your true desires. This is not just a theoretical idea. It's something you can experience directly. A moment of reflection. Take a moment to reflect on your life. Are there areas where you feel stuck or limited? Notice the thoughts that arise when you think about these areas. Are they filled with doubt, fear, or negativity? Now imagine what would happen if you stopped feeding these thoughts. In the silence, you begin to realize that you are not bound by the stories your mind has told you. You can rewrite the script. You can choose thoughts that empower you instead of limiting you. This is the essence of creating your own reality, not through force or struggle, but through awareness and intention. The world around you. But what about the world around you? How can you maintain the state of silence and clarity in a noisy, chaotic world? The answer lies in detachment. Detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life or becoming indifferent. It means not allowing the external world to dictate your inner state. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the great texts of Hindu philosophy, speaks of this balance. It teaches that true freedom comes from acting without attachment to the results. When you let go of the need to control outcomes, you align with the flow of life. You become like a river, moving effortlessly toward your destination, untroubled by the obstacles in your path. In practical terms, this means practicing silence, not just in meditation, but in your everyday life. It means pausing before you react, observing instead of judging, and choosing your words and actions with intention. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey of unlearning and rediscovery. But with each step, the voice in your head grows quieter, and the silence grows stronger. In that silence, you'll find the answers you've been seeking. You'll discover that you are not a victim of your thoughts or circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. You'll realize that true power lies not in the noise but in the quiet strength of your presence. Breaking the illusion of identity. The silence, once felt, becomes undeniable. It grows like a seed within, cracking through the rigid shell of the ego, the constructed identity we carry for so long without question. But here's the challenge. The ego doesn't give up its hold easily.